Weezy taught me that.
What? You know, I'm just a man out here trying to...
Pokemon battle begin!
Maybe LeBron just needs some competition. Someone to go...
I think Bitcoin has a PR problem.
I actually brought these, so if I was going to cut onions, I'd wear them.
Saying it's for the children. We teach the children. You know what I mean?
Wasn't he in special ed?
Where's the quality? All right, here we go. Episode 9. It's probably one of the most important episodes to me. It's with my family, my matriarch, my grandmother, Patricia Phillips. Let me adjust the mic. Move the mic closer. Patricia Phillips, world-renowned canvas artist. She sounds very humble in this interview, but don't be fooled. She gets busy. Yeah. If you've been listening to this part, you know I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And recently, Minneapolis has been thrust to the forefront of politics and news and just the forefront. Rest in peace, George Floyd. But it's more than that. It's always been more than that. If you ever heard Prince talk about Minnesota, you felt the magic when he spoke about it. Minneapolis, in particular. It was just something different. And growing up there in the late 80s, 90s. Look at that, they call it. Hold on. Anyway, the importance of Minnesota and the magic that's there it's just something different. And I think growing up there, I took it for granted because it's just part of life, and I thought everybody was just special and magic like that. But no, it's a thing. I've come to find out that on the outside, they call us Minnesota nice. It's a weird thing. I didn't even know that until I left Minnesota. They was like, oh, you're Minnesota nice. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But yeah, I get it now. It's just the magic of that's there. That's why it's so fucking crazy that this George Floyd, among many other incidents, are happening right there in the city. Right where I grew up, right on my block, and it just hits home. Literally. It hits home, and it hits different than just your average. I don't even say your average, just your political protest. I grew up there. That could have been me. It could have been my family. That was my family. But my family is somewhat of a importance to that city. We brought something to that city. We brought something to this world. And I just thought I should share that with the world. With all the listeners in Germany and Iceland and everybody across seas that for some reason fuck with the podcast, I deeply appreciate it. Keep listening. This story is about Minneapolis, Minnesota, and my grandmother and her artistry and how she impacted and is still impacting the world. This is part 1. You ready? Here we go. Is now being recorded.
Okay, hello?
Yep. Just letting you know everything's up. We're going. I will send you the links to my my previous episodes just so you can get a feel for it and understand and listen just while you're doing nothing.
Alright.
And so we're gonna pick back up with starting your digital portfolio, your digital footprint, your digital real estate. So we're gonna start with Instagram. I sent you the link to Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Instagram is just a platform to display photos. Pretty much that's it. As a artist, it is the best free platform for people to discover your work, to find your work, and sell your art more than just hand to hand. You're now shipping worldwide with the click of a button. Like, I understand you're not familiar with this new technology, but that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for, to help usher you in and show you what we've been missing.
Okay, you're my usher. Go ahead.
I am your usher. All right. For the sake of the platform here in the Positive Overthinker Podcast, let's introduce you and just tell them who you are.
Well, my name is Patricia Phillips, and I am an artist.
My grandmother, by the way, for those who don't
Yes,
listen.
and Evan is my grandson.
First and foremost.
And yes, first grandson, and I'm about to have another. But Evan is usher. He's my usher into this new technology, because I am one of those people who don't know about the technology. I don't have any children at home to teach me, and so I'm in Arizona. Evan is in Florida, and if he was here to help me, I would probably be further along, but we're going to start from scratch.
Let's go. No better time than to start right now. So,
Yep.
as an artist, again, you're traditional paint to canvas. It's not digital art, it's traditional paint to canvas. So it is a big transition, changing not mediums, because you're not changing the way you do art, you're changing how you display your art, how you promote your art. So I understand that is a complete turnaround from what you're used to, and even generations in the past, and how art is appreciated is now changing, and it's just the process of stepping forward and understanding the progression of technology and life and art, and somebody should be there to bridge the gap. And we should do that with everybody. Should do that with all our families. And I'm only doing my duty and my due diligence as son to help.
And that's great. I really appreciate it, because I have been, well, during this whole COVID, the whole last year, I've been kind of at home. I do work from home, but I also create from home. So I've been creating artwork, and so I've been, I usually do festivals and things like that. But, since COVID, there hasn't been any activity that's been available to me. So I have been looking for a way to
reach the people.
My art, with people. And so this is going to be a good experience for me.
Okay.
And building my footprint according to Evan. And so as an artist, I am, as I said, I am here in Phoenix, but I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there, after 20 years of working in corporate, I decided to open my own gallery. And that was about in 1988.
1988.
Yeah, 1988.
I was 2
And
years
so,
old.
I know. So, how old were you then, grandson?
I was 2 years old.
2 years old. Well, I'm aging myself, but that's not a problem because art is sometimes ageless, and I
It's
feel
to
the
be
same way
appreciated.
about.
It's beautiful. I have multiple pictures of your art hanging around me now. When people come to my house, they marvel at your art. Believe it or not, it's like a museum here, and they can't believe that my grandmother did it. They're even in shock that I grew up in an art gallery. I tell them all the time, I grew up in an art gallery. Like I appreciate art different than you guys. I see music different. Like I tell them through my grandmother, I sat with Maya Angelou. I sat with Nikki Giovanni. Like I've seen these people firsthand. And
Yes.
and a lot of people my age or from my generation
Yeah.
don't even know who these people are, but would marvel at their work and not understand like it's a different meaning, a different closeness to art than just
Exactly. And I'm glad that you are reaching out and trying to expose people and me, expose my art to people. And this is what I've been looking for. You know, during this COVID, there's just been no way to get exposure. And so I'm looking for some way to expose it. And this is going to be very helpful to me.
exactly beautiful. Now let's talk about how you create. Like, what are your mediums? Like, what do you use? Acrylic?
Well,
I know you use charcoal.
Tell you, I paint. When I paint, it's mostly in acrylic. I paint in acrylic, but I paint on canvas for the most part. But I do paint on wood. I paint on other surfaces. I use acrylic, and I sometimes have been now using black sand to create texture with my work.
Okay.
And so that's more recent, but you know, I started out. My education is mainly kind of a graphic artist, and so a lot of my work is graphic. But I do like to do realism sometimes, and so it's kind of a mixture. But I create works that I feel that are, I kind of have I create from symbols, African symbols, Adinkra symbols. And I use the symbols a lot in my work. And also, I have I really have a more spiritual also. I feel that my art is a gift. And so in my work, I create this sphere, or not sphere, it's a ball, or I think it represents a treasure. And I think because art is a treasure, and also everyone has a gift. And so in my work, I create often this treasure that's being held up or being held by someone, or even up as an offering. And so that's sometimes a lot. You'll see that a lot in my work. But I also like to do also but I like to study more famous artists' works, and some of my works are studies from other famous artists. So it's a lot of it's a mixture. My work is a mixture of things that I feel, but I think it comes from inside. And so it's like I create what I feel.
As you should. I mean, you gotta let what's in out. As an artist, as a human, you have to find a medium, a way to get what you're thinking out, express it in the world, because if not, you're just like anybody else in the chain. You're not giving them what you see, how you see it, as artists should. Like that's beautiful, and I appreciate it, as the world should appreciate it. Like I don't think you see or understand or get how many times people sit and literally have had discussions about this painting of Buddy Guy that I'm sitting under right now.
Really?
Really. They're like, they have no idea who he is, and just the guitar player, and every time somebody comes to my house, they're like, they marvel at it. And I'm like, my grandmother did that. I watched her paint that years ago. And they're like, Buddy Guy.
And it's been years.
And it's been years.
I can't even tell you how many years. It's got to be 20 years ago that I did that. And so, but as I said, a lot of my work I created it. I think you have a lot of pieces that, some from the gallery, really, but some just were as I was beginning. And so, because like I was saying, some of the works that you have may be 15, 20 years old. I'm just not sure how old they are, but I've just been creating for a long time.
Exactly.
And I've had a lot of influence from a lot of artists, professional artists, through the gallery. You know, they would come through, and like John Biggers, I ended up doing a mural project with him. He's a master. He's passed now.
I remember that the Minnesota thing, the whole big wall.
Yeah.
I painted on that.
Yeah,
I don't. You just brought back that memory. I completely forgot that I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that mural was 20 feet tall and over 200 feet wide. And so it was painted on a sound wall in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it unfortunately got torn down. The city decided they wanted to tear it down and expand the neighborhood. And so it was torn down, but it was a great project, and we had many artists, local artists, participate in that mural. It was a wonderful thing. You can view it, and if you get murals by John Biggers, that mural is in his book. And so it was a great experience working with him and all the artists to actually create something so large. So that was a wonderful experience.
It was. You just brought back that memory, and I remember it. I remember brown paint in my hand, painting the wall. Like, I remember that. That's wild. And not even knowing what it meant and how big it was, and just being a child painting.
Yeah. It was great. It was a great experience. And, from that experience with John Biggers, I had the gallery at that time, of course, but I was able to secure Maya Angelou in for a book signing. And so it was a great day when we had her in the gallery, because we had so many people that actually came for the book signing, and the line was around the block, and we just were so. It was a day of appreciation because just to sit there with her and see her, and she talked a little bit as she signed the books, but it was a wonderful time to experience her, and I'm so glad we did. Because she, as a artist, an author, and doctor of education, she was so. It was such an important day to have her there.
It was. Even looking back, I remember Shirley took pictures. Did she take pictures there?
Yes.
Or was it Nikki Giovanni? But I remember they have them in black and white, and I have one of them in my house.
Oh,
from that day.
So there was authors that came through. Nikki Giovanni was a great author that came through as well through the gallery, and we did a book signing with her as well. And so she was also a very great author, I should say, because her books and poems were very important even to this day.
To this day, I remember it because she did A Rose That Grew From Concrete, like Tupac.
Oh.
And that rose back with the same one. Tupac had an album like that, and he based it off that poem from that book, and that was what made me so interested. I think my mom has that book with her autograph in it in her library where her bookshelf.
Right.
But A Rose That Grew From Concrete.
I know when she was there, she was able to autograph many books. During the book signing, and so it's the whole gallery experience was kind of wonderful. It was great because we were out there. We had artists in like Benny Andrews and Paul Goodnight. They actually did a art session with children, and they created this piece on canvas. It was like a joint project, and the children were able to paint with those artists. So it was a good day just to see the children experience, and they probably, like you, may remember doing that as children. They're probably adults now, but they may remember that project.
When they hear this podcast, they'll remember.
It was one of many projects, and then I still, even in Arizona, where I am now, I still celebrate Juneteenth. But in Minnesota, I was actually more so involved in Juneteenth, and I created a contest. We would have a art contest with school children, and then at Juneteenth, their works would be displayed, and it was good to kind of reach out to the community and to children to expose them to art. And so it was good. But I still do the Juneteenth, but now I'm showing my own art. And that's okay too, because it helps me to keep, to be inspired still with Juneteenth and my art, my own art. Okay.
And it's your really only way of selling your art right now, or at the time.
Now,
and
of course, I don't know if it's happening this year, but I hope it is. If so, I will be there. I've been kind of building a little group of of customers here that have their repeat customers. They kind of see. I just had one that sought me out, and he must have about 3 or 4 pieces of mine, and he calls me and to ask if I've got any new work. So recently he came over just to see if I to look at it and view what I had been doing, and so he did purchase a piece that he liked. But like you, he probably has several pieces of my work on his walls. Okay, but so I do have those that appreciate what I do, and I kind of keeps me going.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've had as long as you've been creating, I'm sure you've had hundreds of buyers and hundreds of your pieces all over.
Yeah, and I don't know, I wish at some point I would have tracked all of those buyers and pieces that I've created, but, sometimes it's a spur of the moment. You sell something and it's gone.
Yeah.
And so it's like...
But I'm saying they're still out there.
You have to let go. You really do have to let go.
Yeah, you have to let go, but it lives on in the world, and I can guarantee somewhere somebody will now search you and search your name, and your art will be refound, and it'll be tagged on your newfound Instagram, and you will redevelop new relationships with other artists and other customers, and this is how we're gonna bridge the way forward and make a bigger stamp. Because from these stories, I'm hearing more of like how of an impact you were on the city. Those people, believe it or not, it shaped them. It shaped them and shaped their being and shaped their understanding. And Minnesota's not your average place. I come to see that after I left Minnesota. Minnesota is a special place, and Prince knew that. Like, Prince was the only one who would shout for Minnesota the way it should be. It's not what we are seeing today and what is known for now.
Yeah, it's definitely not what we're seeing today, or not what it was, because Minneapolis, it was a good place to live and grow up.
It was
But
Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam and Janet Jackson, and it was a different element.
Yeah, Janet Jackson came to record with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Morris Day.
Morris Day was also with his group there, and of course Prince, and always used to go down to that First Avenue when I'm talking about my club days, but that's back then. But there was places to go. And as African Americans, we had our population, and also places and businesses. It's not like we weren't visible in Minneapolis, but it's like it's not what it is today. I guess we have come to, and due to no fault of the city, but the fault of others who have brought forth just chaos, and so the George Floyd murder was very wrong, and people actually they reacted, and that reaction really tore down Minneapolis. It changed Minneapolis, and so it won't be the same because of that. And I'm sure people won't be the same because of the George Floyd murder. Everyone nationwide, even worldwide, reacted from that. And so it wasn't only Minneapolis that had the protesters in reaction, it was worldwide. So it changed a lot about Minneapolis, and it probably will never be the same.
No, and I want people to understand that we're from Minneapolis. George Floyd died at Cub Foods. That was our local grocery
Yes.
store. That was our neighborhood. 3 blocks from the crib. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't. It hits home, literally.
Yeah,
So-
and just a barbecue place down the street. I mean, it was a community. It was our neighborhood, like you said. And so, and why it happened there in our neighborhood, I don't know. I think they were reaching out for something, but at any rate, I think justice has prevailed, and he's been, that police officer, Derek Chauvin, has been found guilty on all counts. So it should have been, because he actually killed that man. And so, but it's very hard to look at Minneapolis now because it's so changed.
Agreed.
It is so changed.
Agreed. And again, it's different now. Even talking to you, it brings me back to seeing how you again had a hand in the city. You brought Maya Angelou to the city. You brought Nikki Giovanni to the city. You put up walls, painted walls that stood for decades in the city.
Yeah.
Like, Sue still
Unfortunately,
teaches.
the mural got torn down.
Unfortunately,
I-
but it stood there.
that really hurt, but it did stand. It did stand, and like I said, you can see it if you go to John Bigger's murals. He did murals.
I'm sure it's on the
all over
internet.
the
I'm sure you
country,
can
but-
Google John Bigger's murals and see the work that we did in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Right. Yeah, it was called the Celebration of Life mural.
Let's say the
So-
name of your establishment. What was the name of your establishment?
My establishment was called Black Art Renaissance.
In
That
Minneapolis,
was
Minnesota.
my gallery for many years. Like I said, I started out with a gallery in 1988, which it was called the Art Vine Gallery. And actually, it was on Nicollet Mall upstairs. And I think I've got a picture of you, Evan, in that gallery. This was my first gallery. Unfortunately, they decided they were going to tear down the building that I was in, and so I had to move. And so the Art Vine Gallery was short-lived, but I then decided to continue with the Black Art Renaissance Gallery. And so that's where all of my creations were done, and all of the projects that I did mostly were through Black Art Renaissance.
I think that should be the name of your Instagram page.
Oh, okay. Would it be, and it could be. Now I am doing currently, when I do work and do shows, I use the name of Cultural Elements. And so right now, Cultural Elements is me, but Black Art Renaissance was the gallery, and my sister Suzanne seems to think I should have a Black Art Renaissance too. Number 2. And so maybe that's what I use as the Instagram.
Let's talk about Susie for a minute, because Susie gives art tours or something
Suzanne Roberts is my sister and an art historian. And so she currently gives lectures and also teaches about art history, I should say, because she just recently is doing a series of classes. Actually, these are done through the Zoom, and she's doing a series of classes about artists, African American artists from the 1800s to present. I think she's up to the Renaissance period, but so basically she's working. I think you can find her classes under. She's working with North High School. I think, and she also works with University of Minnesota and the MIA, the Minnesota Institute of Arts. And so she teaches these classes about history, African American history, artists who were recognized and not recognized. So it's good to hear her talk about those artists. You learn, I learn a lot from her lectures because she does so much research and she knows a lot more than I do about art history. So it's good to she is basically doing things from home. She works from home, and I think she's going to be doing more on-site lectures. But I think she was just commissioned to do to curate an exhibition for the MIA. But yes, so she is a historian and she is very active in the arts. But not an artist herself, but an art historian.
So it's the 1-2 punch. It matters not. She knows she's qualified. She's sanctioned in her studies. And she knows, again, more than the average person. She's qualified to teach in the subject.
Exactly.
So we got to somehow put all this together and bundle it into an NFT and give it to the masses, because no more sitting on our hands. You can create and we can display to the world all through Instagram, really. And Instagram can just be your funnel for the time being until we set up more appropriate lanes, websites, Shopify stores, online auctions and whatnot, so we can get your work out there. Because again, you're not just an artist who's been doing this for 3-4 years, 10 years. You just picked up a digital paintbrush and you can sell nothing. Like, it's a difference when you're selling a baby with a machine gun for $69 million and somebody's worked 2 years on a painting and they're letting it go for a couple of hundred compared to that. Like, that's not art. That's you didn't draw that baby, you genetically imposed it on this picture and now it has a machine gun. Like, I don't even know, like, somehow that...
Well, there has been such a change in the art world. And it's all because of the actual growth in the computer industry, and there's many programs where you can create art in You don't have to draw anything. You don't. You don't have to. You can Photoshop. You can impose images. You can do a lot of things on the computer that.
Agreed, that's a skill, but I unless you're creating on a blank canvas, so to speak, a digital blank canvas, what people can do. I've seen that they have digital drawing boards, and you can draw. You're still drawing. It's still your hand. But if you're again photoshopping pictures of nothing and then turn around and selling it because you're somebody famous, I think that cheapens art as a whole.
Yeah, but they put it out there, and like you said, they build a name for themselves. Whether it depends on if you can appreciate what they do, and they become famous, and it may or may not be warranted, as an artist, but it's up to, like you said, the public is going to, they're the ones that's going to make them famous.
Agreed, famous, more rich than famous. Like again, it's just an NFT boom. Everybody's into it right now. But even before the NFT market, nobody was selling digital artwork like that for that price. So it's not
for that price.
That's like this
it
is
may have been out there, but not for
$69 million. It wasn't happening. So the switch, it just happened this year. So it's not even 2021. It's not even like a new thing. So to catch up, it's not hard, but just the two different mediums. Like you have to work twice as hard to show why you should be valued versus the baby with the machine gun. like you have warehouses and storage units full of artwork, and the baby.
I still have, and maybe once I get the gallery through Instagram, I still have a lot of artwork that I have left from the gallery. Not of my own, but I've got a lot of other artists' works that I have. And when I go to sell, I don't usually take that work, but I need an outlet to sell the work that is, I would have to say, previously owned by me. And so I've got lots of different artists' works that
I have
came through the gallery, artists that I work with, and it may be for those who are interested, it may be a way to purchase that art as well. But I would need to make sure that they know it's work from my gallery and not mine, which I can easily make that distinction, but I would like to be able to sell that artwork as well, or expose it. But there's a lot to do. A lot to do.
So we take it one day at a time. Everything you have with you, around you, we're just gonna digitize it, take the best picture you can, and you're gonna upload it to Instagram. It's gonna show you how. It's very easy. It'll take you maybe 2 days to get the full hang of it, and we just gotta filter your searches. So when you search and you want to go follow, and you want to search and find searches, so you want to find other black artists, you want to find other people who buy art, and you can do that directly through Instagram. You just search and change your hashtags, and then we go there and we market to them. We like them, we share them, and we just, now they're exposed to everything you've done, and we just now develop relationships through the phone. It sounds, I don't know if that sounds complex or difficult, but it's a lot more to it than I just said, but it's easier than anything else.
Well, like I said, you are my usher. And so I don't know that much about how to do things, but I will be depending on you to usher me through.
That's it. No problem. I'm just letting you know that how we're gonna, step one is Instagram, just for social looks, and that is now, it even gives you a makeshift website. You can go to Black Art Renaissance /Instagram.com and see all your work. I think Susie was right. I think we should use the name Black Art Renaissance as your Instagram, and your artist name can be Cultural Elements. That could be your pen name. I said we use that as your pen name now.
Okay.
But
well,
still,
however,
the gallery is Black Art.
However, yeah, Black Art Renaissance 2. Maybe I have to add that 2 to it, because I did search Black Art Renaissance. Somebody is out there with that name, but it's not me. So I have to add the 2, or Black Art Renaissance 2, just to make sure that they know it's me.
I'm gonna search it right now on Instagram. I'm gonna let you know right now if somebody has it on Instagram. You ain't gotta worry about that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so are we wrapping up here, this podcast?
This one, yes.
Okay.
Black Art Renaissance. There's a hashtag, but there is no account. Oh wait, there is a Black Art Renaissance. Who owns this account?
Yeah.
It has no posts or anything. There's 2 of them. I think one of these may be, I think this may be me from a long time ago, honestly. I think I started to do this a long time ago, and I think I made this account, and I probably forgot all about it. All right, and yeah, that concludes that. I appreciate you listening. Everybody in the States, everybody overseas, means the world to me. That's just a slight insight to my background, my upbringing, from a woman who means the world to me. My grandmother gave her all to the city, gave her all to her family. I appreciate you. I encourage you to go sit back again and talk to your grandmother. Talk to somebody who's around you and who's seen it all and done it all. Guarantee you walk away from that conversation knowing more and feeling more. With that being said, this is E from the Positive Overthinker Podcast. Peace.